Jump Force was that huge launch that was released with an incredible graphics section, practically the game in charge of commemorating the 50th anniversary of Shonen Jump magazine, exploiting with a very wide range of characters from different shonen universes. The idea was not the most original in the world, since different deliveries had already been made for more than 20 years ago with this same concept. However, Jump Force promised to give us an experience 100% focused on combat, a pure arena brawler with dazzling graphics, and so the long-anticipated launch day arrived. Jump Force throws us directly into its main story, showing us an introduction where we embodiment a human attacked by Frieza. By being reanimated by Trunks, we wake up with superhuman abilities, able to adapt to the fighting styles of different characters from the universes. Here we enter the first point, the character creation, a pretty wide customization format. We can change height, contexture, hairstyle and color, facial gestures and our voice, also including pretty curious details like the features where we applied marks or scars on our face and they show us designs that I'm sure more than one already knows, like Kiba's makeup and also Tobirama's one, characters that are not in the game but have a little wink here. However, even though the character creation is pretty successful and offers many different combination possibilities, those virtues can hardly be reflected in the gameplay. Your voice is only used in the screams of combat and facial expressions are practically non-existent when you engage in a conversation with someone. That is a shame, since the designs that can come out from here are honestly well looking, but the lack of expressiveness can leave them looking like a mannequin. The story has a pretty simple premise. The worlds of Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece and others are interconnected. These are the Jump universes. Threats called venoms or poisons have recently been detected. They are basically humans who were infected by a virus that gives them abilities but to serve not honest purposes. More specifically, to help Kane and Galena modify the universes as they want. Characters which, by the way, were designed by Akira Toriyama himself for the game. To prevent the spread of poisons, the group called Jump Force has joined, a squad of heroes brought from all the Jump worlds to form teams and prevent the threat from expanding. You must defeat the poisons and also purify them. Everything works through a main base that acts like a traditional lobby. You move with your characters in search of main or secondary story missions with the objective of level up. You can interact with other characters, but the truth is that they did not work much in the immersion part to make you believe that you are talking to them. You can visit stores, buy items and edit your skills whenever you want. Still, this lobby can feel unnecessarily big. It may be because of the real-time rendering that the developers strived to implement for every scenario of the Alpha, Beta and Gamma teams, but if you ask me, it ends up playing against practically with which you move here. The design of the story mode is pretty bad. I'll tell you this directly because it is difficult for me to find qualities within this game mode that are decent to defend. More than 90% of the game has the same scheme that is repeated infinitely. They assign you with a new partner to go and recruit a new character who is under the control of one of the Umbre's cubes. We defeat them and return to the base, all intercalated with very generic dialogues which again most of the time seems not to reflect the personality that these characters have in the series. What can be rescued is the quality of a few cinematics that can be counted on the fingers of two hands that reflects real technical quality. The frame rate may go down a lot at the moment depending on which platform you were using. This was recorded in PC, by the way. These are cinematics that should always be kept like this. Everything else that makes up the story mode are dialogues with a bad plot behind and with an absence of identity on the part of the characters. Variability has a little place in the side missions because they allow you to use the characters you choose instead of all the time having to use your avatar. A point in favor is that the most important fragments of dialogue and cinematics are all dubbed with the original voices of the characters in their respective animes. However, I feel that the soundtrack falls short of what what is sometimes appreciated as audiovisual material. It stays on themes and melodies that, while on certain occasions it is catchy, it comes to feel very slow and bland when we meet at some crucial moment or which are supposed to transmit emotion. When the game just came out, a lot of people complained about the loading times. It's not that these were excessively long, it's just that there are too many of them. Approximately 9 loading screens in just one mission, a loop that must be repeated an infinity amount of times. Well, today, did they solve any of that? The answer is no. The developers did not want to take any of that into account. It is sad that the cinematics that actually have dubbing are so few and the other 80% of the story mode are only dialogue without audio in such a bland context. The story mode doesn't offer any additional unique mechanics, no extra game modes to help this feel like anything more than just a theater of characters moving their mouths without audio and repeating fights over and over again. Maybe at the beginning, thanks to the advertising and the hype generated by the game months before its release, my position was very positive, waiting to see an arena fighter without great deep fighting mechanics, but an entertaining space to play in arcade form. I never thought it would be a disappointment. I was wrong, because in addition to not having a story at all acceptable, its gameplay does not finish balancing the scales. The combats are 3 against 3. All the characters share the same health bar. You can switch characters at will and link the changes to longer combos. You can also make the respective support attacks. Each has 3 variations of light combos and a small combo of strong attacks. Features a grab, a dash, jump button, running approach, energy charge, 4 special attacks that consume the energy meter, and an awakening that works like a transformation with a special buff. Even though the characters all have different combo animations, the sense of the hits and the way that everyone finishes a neutral combo makes all the characters feel pretty similar to use with each other. On the other hand, special moves do create changes in varied mechanics. They can be speed attacks with hit confirm, they can be attacks with consecutive projectiles, energy discharges, attribute boosts, parries, devastating attacks with high range. There are many types, and it makes me sad that with so much wealth in different types of skills, the structure of the gameplay could not be explored further so that the combat system felt much deeper. The game highly rewards you to simply spam the buttons. It allows you to be the dominant fighter just by mastering the same action over and over. Problem that has been since day one of launch. The game system has no mechanics to encourage playing with your head instead of being super aggressive without any other type of strategy in mind. On occasions, you can send special attacks and combos without fear of being exposed if you miss such attacks. The game will not give you so many recovery frames and saves you from any false move that you make. That's right, this is one of those games where that rival who plays worse than you can beat you just by abusing mechanics that you don't even know they are there. This little mobility meter limits how many actions you can do, such as dashes or escape from a combo. The counter is the most used one, but it is also counterproductive for players who learn to do combos by maximizing the damage, because the meter only takes a few seconds to reload, and it practically saves the players if they commit this carefully. They will always have something to back them up. Pretty questionable decision for a game that was intended to be played in a way regular by a community focused on a casual arena brawler. These features are not far from the online experience. The fact of playing this game online does not involve a serious ranked or ranked match system in the sense of the word. You had no way to detect when a connection was by cable or via Wi-Fi, which caused uncertainty to take over the players, and they had to blindly trust that their next game was not a delay hell, which happened most of the times. The ranked matches did not work as a game mode with that name really deserved. When you lose a game here, you don't lose points. The only thing that happens is that you don't win anything. This causes that no matter how many times you win or lose in the game mode, you will eventually rank up, which evidences that if a player has a very high rank, it does not mean that they are good. It means that they have played the game a lot. The game has an outstanding graphic display that cannot be denied, a style that shows a realistic adaptation of the character designs. It looks pretty good to some, but looks a little weird to others. Even so, the visual effects, mobility of the characters in the definitive techniques, and the shots are incredibly well achieved. The fan service, of course, contributes to the spectacularity of these techniques. In technical value, these are one of the best graphical samples for an anime game today. Also, the rips in the clothes, the wounds, and the indications of combat on the appearance of the characters are very well detailed. They really put effort to the wounds that the characters are gradually receiving. The number of characters that the game initially had was a total of 41. Now, with all the existing DLC, we have 57 playable characters. It is without doubt a good number and more than enough to exploit the virtues of each one. The amount of fan service in this game, in the eyes of many players, can easily overshadow its technical and narrative failures, like seeing Kaiba using his Egyptian god, All Might fighting with his devastating blows, and seeing other great characters from the shonen universes in this scenario that condenses them all. Jump Force is a game that can entertain you a lot the first hours of playing, not in the story mode, but by playing with friends, being foolish and letting you go for a good time. The failures are there since day one, and the online services are already shut down. These shortcomings are still there. It seems that the developers were not interested in providing the community a decent game without so much reward for beginners. Man, yes, it is a game that aims for the casual experience, but that is no excuse to make a mediocre game system. Jump Force left many disappointed players, a really wasted potential with a very large budget. The fans honestly expected more. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. If you would like to leave me your opinions and suggestions, remember that I'm always open to continue improving everything regarding the content. Thank you so much for watching. That was all for today. Take care and see ya.